Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. So today we're going to do Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, verse 37. And now the Gita Daily website, which is Charan Prabhu's website, and Srila Prabhupada's website, vedabase.io, which is Bhagavad Gita as it is, they're now following the same verse structure as the rest of the books in the Gita. They were doing a half-half thing for a little while because it was making more sense, but now they're back to that. And I was continuing to follow the regular thing. But verse that being said, verse 37 and 38 are very highly entangled and entwined. So even the Swami Mukundanand website is entangled and entwined with 37 and 38. So I'm going to read the translation from the complete Bhagavad Gita by by Koti Sri Krishna for this one, and tomorrow I will tie it on all together so that the whole two verses can make sense. Today it'll be like a half thing that kind of makes sense. I wanted to talk about some things before we start. If you want to get to the verse straight up, then just follow the thing where you just scrub and you forward until you start seeing the screen. As long as you're seeing my face, I'm just going to be talking about general stuff. I wanted to talk about how so two things. So about I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I was feeling very forsaken by God because there was some financial hit that happened, and it was unexpected, and I was like, I don't know. If I felt unloved. I felt unloved by God, and I found myself expanding it to everyone else in the world. And I was noticing it as well. I was noticing that it's got nothing to do with my friends, but I was feeling unloved by my friends as well. Because I felt unloved by God, I just felt the whole world was, unloving, or it was not good. And it lasted for about 2 days, and I got back to it. And I knew that I would get back to it. I just decided during that time to uh, keep myself away from people so that I don't hurt people. I didn't want to talk to people and cause any harm, because I knew that it was something that I was going through on my own, and I needed to work through it on my own. And I knew that I would get out of it, and I knew that it wouldn't take long, and it just took 2 days. This week, now these last 2 days, I found myself feeling angry, and I think part of it is because I've not been getting sleep. Like the last 2 days especially have been hard, and I found myself getting angry with people. And it's not just one person. I'm finding myself feeling anger about, like, feeling like my boundaries are being violated, or feeling just like something like that. So maybe it's just a last time when I felt forsaken, that was a deeper level. This one is a more superficial level, because if I go underneath the anger, I'll feel the same, probably similar emotions of, like, people don't care, people don't love me, that kind of thing. Why I'm sharing this is it's just um, there are very different ways of handling it in the personal growth world versus the spiritual, I'm going to say the Gaudiya Vaishnavism world. And the personal growth world is all about just welcoming all of it, and welcoming all of the emotions, letting myself feel the anger, feeling compassion for myself for feeling the anger, and just letting that phase pass, knowing that it's a phase, knowing that I am loved by God and by everybody around me, by my friends. I know I'm loved. I actually know that I'm loved, like, very strongly. So letting that phase pass. And then in the spiritual world, the way it's handled is, I think there is a little, and this is why I have a little bit of a hesitancy towards the spiritual world, and this is why I want to study the Gita so badly, is because there's a judgment. There's like, okay, we are not where we want to be, and where we want to be is pure consciousness and pure, where all of these, what I think they're called anarthas, if I got that right, where we do not feel any of these kinds of things. We do not feel anger, we do not feel jealousy, we do not feel sadness. We just feel pure joy all the time, because we are aware of Krishna, and we're aware of Krishna, like we are Krishna conscious, where we can see it, we can feel it. So and we are always connected with God, so, which is a great thing. Like, I love that very much. And I think there is just an opportunity here to combine both the worlds and say, we can accept ourselves for being who we are. We can fully and completely accept our reality, and instead of just accepting, we can take it a step further, which personal growth does, and be grateful for it, and be grateful that we have the emotions, be grateful that we have, like, for example, be grateful that we're in a human body and that we're not in an animal body, that we actually are able to feel it, we're able to go through it, we're able to release it by feeling through it, and we're able to work past it. And then knowing in from the spiritual world that there is a place where we don't even need to feel it anymore, because we just feel so much joy all the time, because we're aware of our connection with God all the time. So I think there's a really profound opportunity here to merge these two worlds, which kind of feel very different when I'm listening to both different points of view. They feel very different, because we're actually in the personal growth world, we're actually feeling joy for everything. We're feeling joy for feeling unloved. We're feeling joy for feeling pain. We're feeling joy for feeling anger. We're feeling joy because we're allowed. We're feeling gratitude. It doesn't even, I don't know how to even make sense of it, but I do feel it many times. I'm crying so intensely, like my heart will break. I'm crying, and at the same time I'm saying, thank you God, thank you God, thank you God, thank you for giving me these feelings, thank you for releasing whatever is in my body, and that's getting released through this crying. Thank you for giving me the ability to emote, because that is a much closer step to God than the inability to emote, right? Like the feelings are closer than the head is. When we want to be connected to God, when we want to feel love for God, then we have to be open to feeling all kinds of feelings. So yeah, so uh, it's just taking away that judgment that we have. Oh no, you have still anger in you, and you need to get to a place where you don't have anger anymore. Taking that away and getting to a place where, like, okay, this anger is beautiful, and we know we're going to be continuing to grow, and we know that there's going to be a place where we feel just immense amount of peace, because our connection with God is just continuous and it's so deep. To that effect, I was listening to these lectures. So now there are many things about these lectures that I listen to that knock me off. Like, I'm like, that just sounds so wrong. So there was this person that I got introduced to about 5 months ago, less than 5 months ago, by somebody I respect. But I listened to two of their lectures, and one of them I felt like, no, 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 that just doesn't, that feels so bad. Like, it doesn't feel good. And the other lecture, I was like, that's outright wrong. That's just so wrong. I cannot, like, no, just no. So I did not listen to this person anymore. And sometimes, many times, it happens with me that I will roll with things in my head, and then it'll just come back to me sometimes months or years later, decades later. So I did come back to it last night, and I started listening to it. And I'm going to share that in the link, because I think that the lecture that I was listening to was so powerful. I think the whole world needs to know about him and needs to listen. It goes deep. He's a person from ISKCON, and his name is Bhakti Vigyan Goswami, and he's a Russian. He speaks in Russian mostly, but he has some videos in English as well. So I'll share the link of the video that I was listening to, and you can go to that same channel and listen to other videos by him. But this particular video I found extremely powerful, and I found really, really good. So, but it's difficult because they keep talking about, like, you need to give up material wealth. He says very clearly that if you're asking for things for yourself, instead of asking to love God, asking for love for God, asking for love, instead of that, if you're asking for material things, if you're asking for money or health or anything that takes care of this body, then that's close to atheism. And the chanting of the holy name doesn't even give you benefit. And that's, like, so harsh for me to hear, because I want all of it. I want all of this material thing. So it's yeah, I mean, it's it's hard to hear, and yet I find it very profound, because he says there is some benefit, even if you asking for material things, there is some benefit. It's just not nearly as powerful as it can be. But I'm having some experiences about that, like in my early morning sleep, I felt like I had a little bit, a very, very tiny little bit of a portal opening moment, like of an experience where I felt a little bit closer to God than I have felt generally. And it just lasted a few seconds or something. And it was in the early morning, probably alpha state or something it is in. So yeah, it was, I don't know if it was that or what it was, but I felt drawn to listen to it, so I did. Okay, so let's go into the verse. I've taken up a lot of your time. Verse 37. Sorry, verse 38. Okay. This is the previous one. यद्यपि ते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम्. Okay, so this is the Gita Daily website. Yadi, if in Hindi, api, even, ete, they do not see. Pashyanti, pashyetam panduputranam, verse 2, pashyanti, to see. So even if they do not see, even if yadi epe ete na pashyanti, even if they do not see. Lobh, greed, upahata, overpowered their hearts. Even if greed has, the even continues from there, even if greed has overpowered their hearts. Chetasaha is hearts, upahata is overpowered, and lobha is greed. So even if they do not see, even if greed has overpowered their hearts, kulakshaya kritam dosham, kulakshaya, in killing the family, kula is the family, kula is, and kshaya is killing, kritam done, fault, dosham done, fault. The fault will be done. In killing the family, fault will be done. Dosh is fault. So even if they do not see, even if their hearts are overpowered by greed, hearts are overpowered by greed, kulakshaya, by killing the family, dosh will be done. Dosh is fault. Fault will be done. um, Mitra drohe cha patakam. Mitra drohe, in quarreling with friends. Now here, the translation in other places has also been treachery or betrayal, like in betraying friends. Mitra is friends. Drohe is like betraying or quarreling or treachery with friends. Also patakam, sinful reactions. So pap, I suppose it comes from there, is sin. So, mitra drohe chapatakam. So, by betraying friends, we will encounter sin. Fault will be done by killing our family. By betraying our friends, we will incur sin. So, even if they do not see, this is my translation, even if they do not see, even if their hearts are overpowered with greed, by killing our family, fault will be done. By betraying our friends, sin will happen. I think this is how I'm translating it, and it just there might be a little bit. So here in the whole thing it says, "Oh Janardhan," although this Janardhan thing comes later. Although these men, hearts taken over greed, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family. Why should we engage in these acts of sin? So yeah, it makes sense even in what I said. And here their thoughts are overpowered by greed, and they see no wrong in annihilating their relatives, and wreaking treachery upon friends. So he's talking about them in this. So maybe my translation was, it's like, why should we do this? We will be encountering fault and we will be encountering treachery. But they're saying they are doing this. So, okay, so the Koti Shri Krishna book is, overcome by greed, they fail to see the evil in killing one's own family and betraying friends. But, so overcome by greed, they fail to see they fail to see the evil in killing one's own family and betraying friends. But okay, so let's go by this definition, and tomorrow we will complete verse 39, and we will complete this whole section and we'll go through it together. Oh, and I didn't go through verse 37 today. Next time I'll remember to do that. Okay. Wish you all a very beautiful day. Radhe Radhe.